Chapter 10. We've been speaking about what is life, what's life all about? It's about struggle. The struggle should not be for a livelihood. The struggle should not be in getting what we want. That would be missing the point. Getting what we want is self-serving. We're here to serve the Almighty. How do we do that? By engaging in a struggle from within, and that will be reflected in our struggles from without. The struggle within is between two parts within me, my godly soul and my animal soul. My animal soul is self-directed. It may be maybe wonderful, it may want to do a lot of good things, but it is all self-directed. It's all about me. It's not about serving. It's all about being served. You know, in life, really, you have two questions to ask yourself. Am I doing this as a service of God, or am I doing this to be served? We all want to naturally be served, and that's the animal soul. It wants to be served. It wants to be served having comforts of life. That doesn't mean to abuse and use people necessarily. I mean, obviously it could be that, but even in a more refined form. It means I want to be served. I want to have comforts of life. Yes, I'll work hard to get those comforts. I want to have the pleasures of life. Yes, I'll work hard to get those, and I won't use anybody, but it's all about me. It's about me being served the things that I want. Pleasure, comfort, those are basic things. And the pleasure, by the way, doesn't have to be pleasure, material pleasure. It could be even spiritual pleasure. But it is self-seeking pleasure. Service means I'm here for a higher purpose. I'm here for what God needs me. Now, that doesn't mean it should be pleasurable. Learning Tanya right now should be pleasurable. But in the service of. And the truth is, when you think about it, often when we do something for another, you know, and we put aside our needs in the moment, there is a sense of, you know, of a pleasure in that. There is a sense of being uplifted. This is the struggle. Am I being serving self or serving the Almighty? That is what we need to check ourselves constantly, and that is the struggle. If we're in that struggle, the more we're in that struggle, rather, the more we're alive, the more we are going to fulfill what we were created for. The less we're in that, the more we are just constantly thinking about how I could be served. Again, I want to make sure that, you know, we think usually of being served in a very negative light, but no. I mean, it is in a negative light, but it's not an extreme over here. How I can gain from this, you know, for me. So this is the struggle. If we're engaged in that, boy, we're doing good. Now, righteous. Are you righteous? Who's righteous? What does it mean to be righteous? Chapter 10 is about the righteous. Are we righteous? Well, the Alter Rebbe explains, a righteous person who's someone who has struggled, so much so, with their animal instinct, with their self-centeredness, and that they have eradicated it, that the divine soul has won the battle, prevailed, not just prevailed in an actual battle, but has won the war. Won the war to such an extent that it's been eradicated. What does that mean, it's been eradicated? Well, the Alter Rebbe is going to speak about two levels, a complete Tzadik and an incomplete Tzadik. But the basic idea means that all of the inner workings of the individual have been converted to good. What does that mean, the inner workings? The inner dimension of who we are. So, as we will learn in chapter 12, someone who's not righteous, but would seem to be righteous, is someone who has a mastery over themselves. Every action they do is appropriate. Every word that they say is good, is appropriate. And every thought, any cogitated, meditated thought, not the one that comes into your head that you can't control, but once it comes into your head that you can't control. All of those you're a master of. Well, that's not a righteous person, as we will see in chapter 12. Here it means even deeper, the emotional and intelligence of the individual. Now, emotions here, we don't mean the thoughts of your emotions, because that's already the way you are thinking about your emotions. Emotions are before your thoughts. In other words, your raw emotion, in a sense, your subconscious emotions. There lurks a lot of, darkness, a lot of negative things, a lot of self-directed things, which is natural to the human condition. The righteous person has converted that. Even the subconscious levels, even the emotions, and again, the emotions here don't mean the feelings that we have, that we contemplate, we think, because that's already how it's garbed, how it's expressed in your thoughts, but deeper than that. As it's not even expressed within you. We do things not just because of our conscious awareness. We do things because of our subconscious, more plays a deeper role in what we do, how we speak and think. Much deeper. The righteous person has evolved to such a degree that even that level has been converted to good. Now, in that, there's two basic levels: the incomplete righteous and the complete righteous. The incomplete is someone who knows evil, meaning there still lingers on that subconscious level some form of negativity, some form of desire for materiality, let's say. Again, not the expression of that desire in there. They don't think it. Now this is phenomenal. They're not thinking a desire for materiality, because then they're not righteous. To think it, a desire for materiality and even to push that away is not a righteous individual. We'll learn more about that. But to have the yearning inside of you deep down, not in your thoughts, but in your emotional subconscious, the incomplete tzaddik has it. In other words, has not converted it in completely, that negativity from within. And therefore, they're not complete. They're incomplete. A complete tzaddik is someone who is completely converted. There's not even a desire in the subconscious emotional being of that individual for materiality, for anything that is self-directed. And therefore, that's what it means also, the righteous that only know good. There's nothing, even on the deepest subconscious, that they would seek to gratify their appetite, physical appetite, whatever kind of appetite of pleasure. The only thing is the service of God. Now, let's explain that deeper. How so? And what is the distinction? What qualifies the distinction over here between the two? So it's as follows. Love and hate come together. What does that mean? You love your child. You love somebody. because of that, you hate anything that should be done to them that would harm them. The more you love them, the more you would hate something that would harm them. Makes sense, of course. So the complete righteous person loves God so much, with such a delight, that only delights in God, that anything that's the antithesis of God, he hates. And what's the antithesis of God, or godliness? Is klipa, sitra acher, the negative side, negative force, which is expressed in the animal soul and its desires. Since his love of God is complete in the sense that he delights only but in God, therefore he hates completely anything that's the antithesis. What does it mean he hates? So what does he, that sounds like a strong term. We're taught in Western civilization, don't hate, just love. No, it's not true. If you really love something or someone, then there's going to be a hate. Now, that doesn't mean you go around hating people. That's not what we're talking about. So a complete righteous person will truly, in every fiber of their being, hate to do things for pleasure, bodily pleasure, or even spiritual pleasure. Would hate it. Why? Because the love of God is so strong, that they delight in God so much. The incomplete tzaddik loves God, but not so fully. It's incomplete, the love. Doesn't delight only in God. There is some measure, it may be 1/60th, 1,000th, and this again is not expressed in any manner of self-expression, obviously not in their actions, not in their speech, and not even in their thoughts. They wouldn't think for a moment, that looks tasty, let me have some. That's already a thought of pleasure. That would not happen to an incomplete tzaddik, let alone obviously a complete tzaddik. But there still lurks on the subconscious emotional level some desire, a minimum 1/60th, 1,000th of an iota of a desire for that, even though it doesn't come to any kind of expression. And that's why the incomplete tzaddik might think he's a complete tzaddik, but he's not. Because it is so minute, so a fine line, that it'd be very difficult for that person to even recognize. And because that, folks, none of us are righteous. We bandy that term in, tzaddik this one is, a righteous one this one, and that one is. Not according to what we just learned here. There are very few. There are, throughout all of the generations, the sages tell us, there are 18,000 righteous people throughout all of the generations. And that's incomplete righteous. The complete righteous is very few. So much so, as Rab Shimon Bar Yochai said, they called them Re'isi. I saw that they're Bnei Aliyah, these are exalted individuals, and there are very few of them. And God puts those complete righteous in every generation, that there is such an individual. By the way, this is righteous. It's not even what a Rebbe is. A Rebbe is much greater than this. This is about personal righteousness. A Rebbe is Reish B'nai Israel, is head of the Jewish people, and has of course, is a righteous person. That goes without saying. But has got much more profound and deeper connection to the Almighty in a way that connects all other souls. But that's not the discussion here. Just to give a little context. So I've seen the Rav Shimon Bar Yochai says that there are very few men that are completely holy, men of ascent, b'nei aliyah, that have converted completely their negative side into their, right? So what does it mean, b'nei aliyah? That these men of ascent, in other words, two things, two ideas, that they've taken their animal soul and have transformed it, have ascended it to good, to holiness, only but holiness, and also that they're fewer than, and they're also men of ascent because they do everything for God. They ascend everything to Him. They do everything for Him. They engage in the physical world in order to bring a union of the divine into this world. Whereas an incomplete tzaddik can, and again, there's many gradations of incomplete tzaddik, righteous person, can be an individual who wants to connect to God because that is self-fulfilling. That is the desire of the soul to be connected. So the complete tzaddik doesn't even have that. Is not at all looking for anything that is self-directed, even to serve God as a fulfillment. And that's a great level that we should achieve, that we should serve God in order that we should be fulfilled as for our purpose and what we are, and we have that longing and that desire to connect to God. That's a phenomenal, but that's an incomplete righteous person. A completely righteous doesn't even seek to connect for the sake of the thirst of the soul, that the soul should be fulfilled to quench the thirst of the soul. The completely righteous, not even that. They're just complete mirror image of above, reflecting above, doing for above, nothing but a conduit. The incomplete, not that we could tell the difference in seeing them. We wouldn't be able to. But the incomplete, there is that personal desire of quenching the thirst of the soul. It's just, we're not even there at that level. We're not even on that level. So, there's a story of the original Rebbe, who was a grandson of the Baal Shem Tov, and he came. One of his students, one of his simple Chassidim, a simple Jew, studying and heard that there's 36 hidden righteous in every generation. 36 hidden righteous in every generation. So he came to the original Rebbe and said, Rebbe, you're obviously not one of the 36 hidden righteous people, because everybody knows you're righteous. So he smiled and he said, woe unto me, woe unto me if my righteousness is what you see. What we see of the righteous is only from our perspective of who we are. And therefore we see very little of who they are. Even this concept is hard for us to imagine, that a person can have complete mastery over their inner emotions, the subconscious emotions, the mind, that it is a complete mirror reflection of the divine, nothing for themselves. It's hard to, it's one thing to have mastery over your behavior, but to have mastery even of the deeper recesses of your inner being, of your emotions, of your mind. It's hard to understand or imagine that. We have difficulty enough with actions, with our words. Thoughts, forget about it. But that's why this only exists, and I'm going to make this statement, amongst the Jewish people. You speak about others, that they're righteous, that she was, she gave of her life and she was totally righteous, and he gave of his life and, they were, destitute and they were this and that. No. Forget about the fact that they probably had anger here and they were probably, expectations there and different, whatever. Not even going to go that. But on the inner dimensions, that there was no lust inside of the heart that they didn't even know about, let alone that it was expressed in a thought? No. That only exists, that kind of righteousness, amongst the Jewish people, amongst the righteous and the Jewish people. And it's only due to the Torah, power of the Torah, and divine service that Judaism, Torah, brings about in every moment, in every area of our lives. Anyway, the Alter Rebbe didn't say this, I'm just saying it. I want to, some people, we can all understand this. Okay. I know now that, what do you know from today's class that you didn't know from yesterday or last week's class? What do you know that's unique in these teachings from today? That's okay, Marge. I've been mistaken in the past. Andrew asks a question, does focus on prayer allow emotions for God and temporary silence urge for self-gratification? Excellent question. We're going to get to that in chapter 12. Excellent question. Luciana, about the 18,000, that's 18,000 throughout all of history. Throughout all of history. So let's so if you take 18,000 and divide it by 5781, it would give you 3 per year. It would give you 3 righteous people that come into this world per year. That's not a lot. By the way, as we will learn, you're not born righteous. You have to work and become righteous. Anna is asking, does that mean that the complete righteous is not aware of their righteousness? Yes and no. You can't have false humility, but you could mistake yourself, and we're going to get into that. Excellent question. We're going to get there. Is the incomplete a Beinoni? No. We'll see in chapter 12 why not. Excellent question, Andrew. Does mastery over emotion and mind by all usher in Mashiach? No, we need to have mastery over thought, speech, and action. The garments are of our soul, the self-expression of the soul, but not the soul itself, which is intelligence and emotions. That's for the righteous. Okay, David says, I know now that the incomplete Tzadik has a minute sense of self in his subconscious mind and his physical desires, which he doesn't actually express. And a complete Tzadik has not even a sense of anything but godliness. Excellent. Very good, David. Batya, his wife, says, I know that, good tag team over here. I know now that I have both self-satisfying animal soul serving and serving from the godly soul. There are areas of my inner workings where the struggle still occurs. Also, the incomplete tzaddik has some level of subconscious negativity that within him or her, whereas a complete tzaddik is completely so wrapped into Hashem's love, will, and purpose that she hates the things that are contrary to. I am a Beinoni in training, with the hope to be able to obtain such a level. Excellent. Thank you, Batya. Linda says, I know now that the incomplete righteous still has a yearning for negativity, whereas the complete yearning, you have to be careful with that word, with the word yearning, because yearning usually means something that you have a realization of yearning. He has no realization of it. There's no thought of it. So that word yearning I wouldn't use. Even though you could mean yearning if you say in the subconscious emotional state, yes. But if you don't qualify that, it would be a very big mistake. But I'm sure that's what she meant, Linda. It is completely converted. The complete tzaddik is completely converted without self-direction and only delights in God. This helps me to reflect on my thoughts, speech, and actions, whether they're truly for God or more self-directed. Okay. Yes, Luciana, exactly. 3. Anna, I know now that there is an incomplete tzaddik who is subconsciously connected with Klipa. That is something I did not know earlier. Okay, excellent. Thank you. Tim says, I know now. I don't know me. What do you mean? Why not? You're not certain if you're complete or incomplete. Why not? I know now that the complete righteous individuals have no hidden desires for self-fulfillment, only pure service of Hashem. Excellent, thank you. Okay. Rachel, I know now that a true sage is always working on mastery. Excellent. Mario Zata, I know now that I am back to myself. I have been dealing with a very psychotic relative. Today I am simply enjoying your class. Excellent. Great. Luciana is asking me, there is a place of desire serves Hashem. I'm not certain what that means. Can you elaborate on that, please? Marina, I know now that the concept of my mind of a righteous person is far from the perception of myself. Okay, exactly. Very good. Okay, Linda, thank you. Does it make sense to want to have moments where they have experienced being in a state where they had no yearning in their nature? Jess is asking. First of all, remember, when you're speaking about yearning, Jess, you're talking about a conscious awareness. You had the thought of it, right? Because feelings that don't come into thoughts, what are they? They're there, but they're subconscious. You're not even aware of them because you didn't think it. That's a very deep level. So does that, on that subconscious level is what we're talking about the righteous. Can that be that you can have in a conscious awareness no sense of yearning in that moment in conscious awareness? Yeah, that's probably possible. Katie, I know now that the righteous are those who struggled with their animal soul and whose divine soul has prevailed. They have mastery over the deeper parts of their inner being, subconscious emotions prior to thought. There are 2 types of incomplete and complete, and the incomplete knows evil and still has a lingering negativity and self-fulfilling desire for material. Whoa. This is great. The complete doesn't seek to connect for himself, but is a conduit. I also know that I am not so righteous yet, but working on it. That was excellent. That was excellent, Katie. That was excellent. By the way, a reminder, tonight I have my class at 6:30 for those who want to join for the Parsha. That was excellent. Clem, I know now that the more I know, that I know really nothing at all. Yes, that's happening every day. Right? Gianna, married people celebrate their love for one another. Is love sanctioned or a sanctuary? Well, love is supposed to be part of marriage, of course. Absolutely. Thank you, Rena. Diane, I know now that I should not be late for these classes. Your granddaughters are okay. Listen, a granddaughter, well, I know what you mean. But love the subject of the class, and we'll review the comments. Okay. All right, folks. Sharing is caring. Again, a reminder tonight, 6:30 Eastern Standard Time on Chabad's Zichron ZK page, or on my page. There will be a weekly Torah portion. Actually, it'll be on Zoom. So if you want the Zoom address, private message me your email. Also a reminder on YouTube to subscribe at Tanya Rabbi. Folks, there's more to come. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you with Chabad Zichron Kadeshim in Montreal, Canada. It's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. Have a wonderful day.